Peyton, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much for having me.
How did you get into theater?
Okay, so it all started when I think I was maybe 4 years old or so. I went to Kingwood Christian Academy in Kingwood, and we always did big Christmas productions and spring productions, and so it was a Christian school, so we did Lindsay's Gift, which was this very cute little production, and I was an angel in the snow globe with Jesus, so I think that was my first little role, and then I did other roles after that. We did Center Stage, me and my sisters did Center Stage Kingwood for a couple of years after that, and that's where we met Sarah Preisler, who became kind of our sister agent, teacher, director, and she really helped us to get bigger roles in Center Stage just by coaching us, and so Center Stage for a while, and then later on, when I was in 8th grade, we went to Tuts, Theater Under the Stars, and trained there for a year. Then I went to St. Agnes Academy, where I did choir there. I became president my senior year. And did a bunch of musicals there, and I was part of an a cappella singing group that was official performers of the Texas Renaissance Festival.
Whoa!
So that was really, really fun.
So you obviously you started young, but what really made you enjoy this thing, or say, this is it, this is my passion, I want to do this? I mean, you could have done other things, kind of like, yeah, it's okay, and moved on to other things.
We definitely tried other things. I did volleyball for a while, softball, and I did some of those same things at the same time as I was doing these theater things, and I've always loved to sing, like, sing ever since I was little in church, and did choirs there, and I think that theater musicals, especially for me, being able to sing, dance, and act, and just express yourself in that way was so exciting for me, and that was something that fed like the creative side of me more so than playing sports. So that's what kept me there.
So do you consider yourself more singer, actor, or dancer first?
I'm a singer first, definitely.
Really? Okay.
Yes. I love to do all three of them, but I think that I definitely am the strongest at singing. I did it ever since I was little, and then I was lucky enough to be able to take private voice lessons for 3 years at St. Agnes, and I feel like I have improved immensely, but I definitely want to strengthen those other sides as well.
Sure. Well, I mean, that we're talking about technique here, but in terms of expressing yourself, why singing? What is it about singing?
Singing, there's all those cliches, like, when words fail, like the song takes over. And it's a cliche, but it's also very true, I think. It's, songs can sometimes, artists have this ability to put into words things that you're feeling in such a way that it's just beautiful. And so, there's a song for probably any emotion you could ever have in your life. And there's some really intense ones, and there's fun ones, and I just think that it's a really beautiful way to express yourself.
Do you write any?
I journal, yes. I always thought when I was little, to keep a journal would be really fun, so I could look back and see what I was thinking at a certain time in my life, and where I don't do it every day, I will document after like big life events. I always love to look back, especially when I did shows when I was younger, and talk about, I'm so excited to audition for this show, and I really hope I get, this part, and it's really funny to look back and just laugh at myself to see what I was thinking.
So what would you tell yourself, your younger self, if you had a chance to do that?
I think I would tell myself to be more confident and just...
Really?
Yeah, because I definitely in middle school, I felt like I was more... I've become more open and just more accepting of, like, my abilities over the years. And I think that I was just more shy in middle school and that sort of thing. And so I think I would tell myself, just be confident and have fun. And as long as you're having fun, the audience is going to receive that. And so will your directors and everyone else, too.
So you go to University of Tulsa, right?
Yes, I do.
Why Tulsa?
That is what everyone asks me, especially
I'm from
Texas.
Tulsa. I was born in Tulsa, but...
You were?
Yeah, my dad went to University of Tulsa. Yeah, so...
Oh my gosh, yes! Okay.
But it's not something people think of. It's kind of like, okay, fine. Because you know how it is. You're a Texan. Oh, you're an Okie. Oh, okay.
Oh, I know. I love being in Tulsa, but being so proud that I'm a Texan, So I'm the first of 3 daughters, and I kind of was just not really sure where I wanted to go. I'd been to private school my whole life, and so that small environment was something that I definitely was looking for in a college, even though I still applied to UT and the big schools. And so I had a really good friend actually who was in that a cappella singing group with me, who did musicals with me, her name's Madeline Jarvis, and she went to...
Hello, Madeline.
Hello, Madeline. Yes, this is your plug. She went to the University of Tulsa and just told me that she loved it, and she was still doing choir and stuff there, even though it wasn't her major.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
And it was very small. So I toured there, and, you know, it was really funny. We went there on a day, like, my mom and I didn't bring any boots. We're like, oh, it's going to be sunny. It's going to be great. Yeah. It poured, like, sideways when we were there. And I was just like, oh, my gosh. Like, my mom, her flat actually broke as we're walking. She's like, Peyton, we should have gone to financial aid that day. You know, walked in. But I decided that if I liked the school enough when it was raining, I would love it when it was beautiful. Wow. So it came down to 2 schools, and at the end, I realized that, like, you know, 8 hours away, it's an hour-and-a-half flight back to Houston, and I loved the business school there, and I was still doing choir, and so it's actually been the perfect fit for me. I love it there.
So what are you majoring in there?
I'm majoring in business management and minoring in Spanish.
Okay.
But still continuing to do all of, like, the
things that you
performing
love.
things I can. Yes.
So you're being practical, but this time you can still do the things that you love. What do you miss about Texas when you're there?
My family, obviously. I miss them so much.
Well, you seem to contact them quite a bit. They seem to try to keep up with you.
Oh, yes. I think my family came up to Tulsa more than probably any other family did the first year of college. And my roommate was probably like, Peyton, you just talk to them too much, because we tried to FaceTime every day. Right. And, you know, Parker's 13 right now and Paige is 16, and they're such an important part of my life that I didn't want to miss out on even the little things, you know, just things that they would do at school. And so we try to FaceTime every day.
But there was a time when it was only you. So
that was only 2 years.
Yeah. Okay. So you probably don't think about it too much. But even I guess we were talking about how, you know, as the older, sometimes there are other expectations that are placed on you, you know, by parents. You know, and that's understandable. Did you ever feel that? Yeah.
I really never did. I have a really great relationship with both of my parents, and they're so supportive of literally everything. Like, that's the only reason we were able to do this musical even, is because my parents were willing to, like, you know, drive us some of the way, all the way actually, and just, you know, let us have this time. Never felt the expectations from them, just that they always told me, as long as I'm doing my best, that's all that matters. And that's the reason why I think I was driven in school even, is because I wanted to do my best, you know? Sure. So they're wonderful. I love you, Mom and Dad.
We're so glad that you guys are here, because it's a great thing to do as family, have a shared experience.
Oh, yes.
Also, which is why we do this in the summertime, so that we have, you know, these shared experiences together.
It's been one of the best theaters that we've been a part of, honestly. Like, I feel such a, like, family community here, and
sometimes we're dysfunctional, but we're family.
But I love it. Yes, that's the way it should be, you know. And I've been parts of theaters who are very, like, I really think my mom has always said that, like, you know, you take every experience with you, every performing experience you've ever had comes with you to an audition or anything. And that's true in life and in performing. And I've had directors who've been really tough that have taught me a lot of things. But also it's really nice to be part of a group that you just feel that support outside of this, off the stage too. And that's what I feel like Stage Right is. So
no, thank you so much. We try to keep it a family, because, hey, we do this a lot, so you might as well enjoy it.
Yes, definitely.
Having, like, so the 3 sisters, and I know you're talking about your dad being outnumbered, because he's the only guy, right?
Absolutely.
There's no dog, there's
no... Yes.
So what makes you guys break into song?
Oh my gosh.
What inspires that?
It's just, you know, we've all seen the same things over the years, and we just think in song, I think. Like, if there's a line that comes to our head that's from, like, a musical that we know, we will all just start singing it at dinner. Like, my dad is like,
you guys harmonize? What is that?
Yes, he's like, can we please have a dinner that does not involve breaking into song? So
because your life is a musical.
It is, and my mom loves it, and I think sometimes they probably both get enough of it, but it's who we are, so it's really fun.
If you had to pick a favorite musical, what would it be?
Oh man, that's hard. Like, I have a couple of different shows that I would love to do. Legally Blonde is one of my favorites, not gonna lie. I actually have done it once before.
Oh really? When did you do it before?
And I went to St. Agnes Academy, and so my sophomore year of high school, I was actually Margot in the show. And so now I'm playing Pilar, and so my friends have told me, you have to play Serena so you can say you've done all 3.
It's a one-woman show.
Exactly. So Legally Blonde is one of my favorites. I'm also a big Disney fan, so Beauty and the Beast is is a dream role, and Wicked is my absolute favorite.
Oh
too.
yeah, there's a big following for that. You have to figure out how to do that.
I know. Being Alphaba or Glinda would be just a dream because they're both so different. I usually play comedic roles, but I think that I would love to play, some different roles eventually. Like Belle's a little more serious. She's not as funny as everyone else.
Right.
Also, Alphaba's pretty serious, but she's got her moments.
Right.
And I think it'd be really fun too to play Millie. I love Thoroughly Maud and Millie.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! I remember seeing that. I think it was 2003.
Really?
With Sutton Foster in New York.
Oh my gosh!
And
so
but of course,
jealous.
I hadn't seen it, and we wouldn't know if this was appropriate for Michael. He was 7 at the time, so we saw it. Said, "Oh man, he could do it." And when we brought him, he loved it so much he wouldn't let us see anything else. So every time we would go there, so once he turned, Mom says, "Michael, will this be like the 3rd time?" And we did the the usual fan thing. You wait by the door, and of course Sutton doesn't come out, but everyone else came out.
So those stage door things are like crazy because especially like we've done the stage door a lot at Theater Under the Stars for Wicked and just Ariel and. Especially those high, like heavy costume makeup shows.
Yes.
Sometimes people come out and you think you know who they are, and you're like, "You did a great job," but you don't.
Who are you?
Yeah, exactly. So maybe she came out and you just didn't know.
We know.
I know you would know Sutton.
I think we know her, and she's gone on to do a lot of other stuff, which we enjoy. How many times have you been to New York now?
I think I've been twice. I went in 2008, and actually that was a really great time. My whole family, the 5 of us, went together, and we actually got to see the first round of The Little Mermaid on Broadway, and that was amazing. They've since changed it. We saw it again when it came to Tuts, but it's seeing that original cast and how cool it was. That was just a really unbelievable trip. And then we went with my choir. We went to so many cool places. We went to Toronto and San Francisco and Boston. But New York was my senior year, which was really, really fun. So there we saw Les Mis, which I absolutely love.
Oh my goodness. What an awesome
It was
show.
so cool.
Yeah.
And actually my senior year was neat because since we were going to New York, we did a whole performance of Broadway songs. So we did One Day More and Do You Hear the People Sing from Les Mis? And I got to be the crazy, oh my gosh, what is her name? It's Watch 'em Run Amok, Catch 'em As They Fall. So that was my part in the show. So that was really cool to see that. And then we also saw, have you heard of It Should Have Been You?
I haven't seen that, no.
Okay, it was in previews when we were there, so it was kind of this crazy show. And Sierra Boggess actually was in it, so that was really neat to see her again, because she was Ariel, and then she was this other role. So that's what we saw there, too.
Yeah.
Just like the hustle of the city, but I don't think I could ever live there.
I don't want to live there, but it's a great place to visit.
Absolutely.
High energy city, all kinds of things going on there. So it's a great place to visit. We love that.
My family wants to go again. We're talking about maybe going later this year too.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I know. We need to go. Well, I'm taking Michael back up to Rutgers, and so I'm sure we'll go in there. We'll do something. But
do you want to see Hamilton? Is that?
I don't know. I'm not aware. Really, we were talking about it. It's got a big following. What is it with Hamilton?
Okay, so I'm not as big of a fan as my sisters. Like, I love it, but I think that I've heard it so much in my house that I'm like, oh my gosh. It's okay, so it's very different, and I think that our generation likes it a lot because it's a rap musical. Yep. And I like a lot more, I like the songs that are more the traditional musical theater where it's more belty, but I think it really has something for everyone. And I think it's especially very cool because it's the founding fathers and it's the story, but it makes them more relatable because sometimes when you're reading, your history book and you see these guys in wigs, you're like, how do I relate with them? But Lin-Manuel Miranda has really done a great job about making it universal. So I think it's pretty cool, and I would like to see it. I really would.
It's interesting because he's kind of tried this format before in the Heights. It's a reasonable stuff, but this is really touch a nerve. Just
it's
incredible.
So cool.
Of course, it did very well, with the Tonys. But it's really touched that nerve, and people, And when I saw the ticket prices, oh my goodness!
Yes, I know, and I couldn't believe he just recently, like all of them, the original cast just went off, and I guess I had no idea how long they'd been doing the show. But it's really cool, and I can't wait to see what they'll all do next.
Oh yeah, incredible stuff. Where do you guys like to stay when you go there? Do you have a particular place? Oh yeah, in fact I know. Sorry, I did tell you guys have to do the Radio City Music Hall tour.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I have a story.
You have
about
to do.
This.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we went. My sisters and I. We all like to watch, the performing shows there.
Yeah.
So I did competitive dance when I was little, till about 4th grade.
Right.
And Paige and Parker are more dance heavy than I am, and so I always get the lessons. When they come home from dance, and they teach me. And so we love to watch So You Think You Can Dance and Dancing with the Stars. So we love Derek and Julianne Hough. We adore them. So when I went senior year, we actually got to do the Radio City Music Hall tour. And you know, for anyone who's been on the tour before, there's a portion where you go up very high up and there's a window and you see what's going on. So at the time, they were doing the Rockettes like spring show, the fashion one. And I didn't know this, but Derek Hough was performing in the show like while we were there. And so we're up there and this really nice like tour guide is trying to tell us all about, you know, the architecture. I'm like, it's Derek Hough! He's on stage! And so that was pretty cool. And my sisters were so jealous. I'm like, you guys, we were in the same building, you know, you can't touch that. So that was pretty cool. I mean, it's a beautiful place and we like to watch, oh my gosh, America's Got Talent. And that's always, you know, where it is, the finals. And so that would be, it was really cool. And I'd like to go back and actually see the Rockettes show there. We saw it touring through Tuts again when it came. They're just so impressive with all their kicks and everything.
Absolutely.
My sisters want to be Rockettes. So I know that I will be there again one day seeing them kick, you know.
So how do you decompress when you're not doing theater and dance and singing and stuff like that?
Oh my gosh, how do I decompress? I love to exercise. I like to read. I love to just listen to music, and it's been crazy because I just finished my first year of college. You know, I feel even if I do have free time, I just fill it with activities and stuff. So decompressing is usually right before I go to sleep. You know, we're pretty busy.
Do you like to write? You said you do some writing, right?
It's more like personal stuff just for me, like, you know, documentation of what I like. But English was always my favorite class in school, and so I do like that aspect. I've never written, like, stories besides, like, you know, assignments in class, but I really like that. And it's kind of funny. My sisters and I all love English, so we like, you know, if one of them is doing, like, a book report or something on something that I've already done, I love to edit and, you know, do that sort of thing for them. To the point where sometimes I'd be at school this year, and Paige would call me at like 11 p.m. and be like, hey Peyton, like, you want to look at this paper? I'm like, I mean, I can, but it's 11 o'clock.
So when you look at earlier stuff that you've written, what would you tell yourself?
What would I tell myself? I think it would be, you know, I would try to be really proper. So if someone was to look at it one day, they'd be like, wow, she's really, you know, got it going on. But I think it'd be more fun to tell my younger self, talk exactly how you would talk, you know. I would write it as if, like, you know, like, you'd be surprised that, like, to hear this. And I would just want to say, like, loosen up. Just, like, you know, write how you would actually talk to people. Not, like, you know, it'd be my personal journal, but, like, if someone was to find it, it better sound grammatically correct. So, it's just so silly.
When you did these travels, you said, was it San Francisco? Toronto?
Yes.
Some of that one? So what did you see in San Francisco and Toronto and some of these places?
Oh, in Boston. Oh, my gosh. We just saw a bunch of cool things. So my choir would always go. There was about 150 of us. It was mixed. We went to an all-girls school, but it was kind of neat because choir was with the boys' school, too. So we would go and sing for different middle schools and high schools. And then sometimes we were lucky enough that they would sing back for us. And sometimes, like, you know, we felt like we were really, like, kind of a notch above, but there was this one time, this school in Boston really just, like, did songs from The Lion King, and they had these full performances, and we were like, wow, we could learn something from these guys, you know, we really could. Because they, I love to see people who are so expressive, because that's something that I love about theater is I've got a big, like, you know, lots of facial expressions and stuff, and so seeing people who are so excited about that was very cool. So seeing those performances was really neat. And then we also saw, like, the Blue Man Group in Boston. And that's an experience. If you haven't seen it, you should. Have you seen it before?
No, but when we were in New York on Christmas Eve, there's not much goes on Christmas Eve in New York. If you want to be in a place that's quiet, go Christmas Eve. That's the only time Times Square is quiet. And there were only 4 shows on. Blue Man Group was one of them. So actually, we ended up seeing Hamlet. Which was, because Ethan Hawke was in it. So we just wanted to see it, so what the hell. And so we go to the Lincoln Center, and it was all right. It was cool. They did some awesome things, though. They had, I remember, one of the scenes, somebody had brought a plant on and put it on the table. And then, little by little, the leaves would fall off. You know this had to be time. So they got just those leaves fall off. Okay, wait a moment. And a few more leaves fall out. It's like, wait, this is going on. What's going on here? How do they do it?
They do something different every time. And it was, when we went, it was like this big color explosion. So the guys would, the Blue Men would be out with their drums and start playing, and the paint would just go everywhere. And like then they had a big part in the middle of the show where everyone was involved. It was a big dance party, and like how many shows do you know that are that interactive? I just really, it was an experience. I would go see it again for sure. One other really cool thing that I did when I was in New York is we went to Ellen's Stardust Diner. Have you been there before? Okay, if you ever go back to New York, if anyone goes to New York, you should go there because it's this restaurant where the servers sing for you.
Yes.
It is like, you know, Broadway, and it was really cool because it's all these people who are waiting to get on Broadway.
Of course.
And you're there and you're like, why are you not there already? You're so good. And so they would sing karaoke to different things, and when we were there, we actually saw in the original Little Mermaid cast, Flotsam and Jetsam, or you know, Ursula's little eels. And so one of the servers was actually the original from the CD. He's the one that I saw when I was there, and this is like 5 years later. But I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So, so if you ever get the chance, you should go there too.
Oh my! Well, there's so much to see. There, I mean, this huge, huge place. So many things to do. Not enough time.
I know.
When you're singing, how do you find the character, or I guess things within you to emote? Or do you ever have trouble finding things that I can't relate to this, but I have to be able to sing this authentically?
So I try to pull from my own, like, you know, life experiences, and if, luckily, I usually am the comedic part, so it's something fun that I can just, you know, think of a memory and just, or picture myself what I do in that situation. I've definitely done auditions before, like, my junior year we did Mame, and I actually was Agnes Gooch, which was funny. So I kind of made her more comedic than you know, just the old lady. But I was auditioning for Mame, and she has to sing that song, "The Boy When He Walked Into My Life Today," and it's really hard because she's this older lady and she's talking about her son. And I just remember Sarah was helping me with that audition. She's like, "Come on, Peyton, you just gotta, like, you know, find it deep." And it was very difficult for me, but just to picture what I would be thinking in that situation. That's kind of how I do it.
Oh, man. Well, we've had a great summer. I hope you guys have too.
Yes, definitely.
And it's almost one end.
I know. I have to go back to Tulsa, but it's been a lot of fun. And part of the reason why we chose to do this show is because, well, Sarah was telling us about it, and I'm like, this is my favorite show. I have to do it again. And it's been probably, well, Paige, when I was a senior at St. Agnes, she was a freshman, so we did Anything Goes together, and she actually choreographed part of the musical, so that was really cool that we got to do that as sisters. But it's been a really long time since the three of us. It's been since I was in 8th grade that we all did something together. So it's been kind of a blessing for us to be able to do it. And so we've enjoyed it so much being here.
Well, we're glad to have you too. I mean, I know it's a long way, but thank you so much for coming.
We loved it. We loved it. It seems like everything. I had some friends actually come and see me from Tulsa just to come see the show.
I know, that's pretty cool.
They're so great. I love you guys. but they came, and when I picked them up from, you know, the airport, we live in Kingwood, so everything for us is it's probably about 30 minutes. But Tulsa is pretty small, and so they're like, you guys have to drive everywhere, and you know,
yes, you do.
We do here. But you know, it's been worth it with everything that we've been able to do. So
we've been surprised how far people will drive for roles. You know, especially, you know, Houston, you have to do a lot of driving. I think the furthest most people would do would be College Station. It's like a lot of hours. College Station. We've had people from Katy. We had a costumer from Katy from a while back. I think the furthest was a stewardess from Dallas, but she worked in Southwest Airlines. No, she flew. She flew on Southwest Airlines because she could do that, right? And she would come down, and she'd only be like part of the week, right? Thursday, you know, Wednesday to Sunday or something like that, and we knew that. But no, she'd do that too. So that's really the furthest. It is amazing how far people will go for a role. Definitely. I think the hardest one. Somebody lived in the Woodlands, and they would drive to Galveston every day. And I go, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
You know, you kind of rationalize it. And my mom, like, and dad, when we were talking about this, we just said, like, you know, when is the next time that we're all going to be able to do something like this together? And even though it's been, like, you know, we've been kind of exhausted sometimes and, you know, tired, I think it's been so worth it. It's been really cool. And I love how you guys do 3 weekends. I've never been part of a show that's run this long. So
well, actually, that was a business analysis issue. Think about this. You know, actually, I don't know if you've seen that we have posters, and there's actually math and theater. There's actually a math and theater poster. And as you know, there's a lot of cost when you put on a musical. But most of the cost is already borne once you've done your first couple of shows. right?
That's
You've
true.
already paid for all this stuff.
So then the extra is just a little
The
bit
extra is gravy. Yeah, I mean, you still have to pay for, extra performances, but you've already built your set. You've already got advertising out there. Once the first weekend, if you advertise it, it has to build. Well, so the first weekend, and it has to here, right? Second weekend it builds. What's the third weekend it builds? You can do 4 weekends, but there are other things that go on to it. And it gets hard once you start getting to 4 weekends, people to commit to that.
You have such a great following here, too. I am just amazed. We've had a full house almost every night for the show.
Oh, my goodness, yes.
It's been crazy.
But we've been surprised at who's come to the show. I thought of this more as kind of a young people show. We'll get people to maybe 25, 30, and that'll be it. We've had buses of seniors from all over the place. I haven't even seen some of these places.
I know.
We get 2 or 3 buses an evening. It's just amazing.
Well, I think in Legally Blonde, there's something in there for everyone. Like, you have the college girls, so you relate to the younger crowd.
Right.
Elle is kind of a timeless. She's your underdog, so you want to.
Right.
She's our heroine, so we want to be behind her. But then you have Paulette, who has all of these hilarious lines, and then everyone loves Kyle, and then and Brooke is very intriguing. She's this exercise queen, so. Right. And then there's dogs, so who doesn't love dogs?
Well, I think we have a Hugh Grant character in here. That's what basically Austin plays. It's the the kind of the awkward guy, because a lot of us feel that way too. We're not handsome, but we can still get the girl kind of thing. It really does have a little bit for everyone, and we still slip a little message in there too.
Oh yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. Be true to yourself. It's so good.
So you've done it the second time. Sometimes, when you do a show again, you're always trying, I don't know, when you do productions, it always seems you're trying to recapture a glory or a moment. Do you ever find that sometimes?
I do,
and it's like the elusive thing that you can never seem to get again. It's always different, and it's good, but it's not always the same.
So. It was definitely different because I felt my high school cast was stellar, and they just I loved it. We were all very close friends, so coming into a cast, it was really neat because I felt like a lot of us had bonded now. We're very bonded, and the show is just electric, and I think that's why I like it. Is because you get very close with the people that you're with, and everyone's having a blast. And so I think that's what I was trying to recapture, is just having so much fun,
I was driving to Dallas, and I turned on the soundtrack, the Broadway track, but I turned it off because I couldn't stand it. I preferred our track better.
No way! We should do a recording.
So I went, and I was talking to Michael, my son, and he goes well, I'm glad you didn't listen to the London track, because he really didn't like that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I've never heard the London track before. I should listen to it.
You don't want to do that. But so because neither of us were kind of, this is okay, but we've really gotten into it. It has those moments, and I have to tell you, they say, even though we're up at the lights, sometimes we can tear up on some of those scenes. Like, oh.
Do you have a favorite part in the show?
I don't know if I have a favorite part. I think it's a favorite only because it's a poignant moment. I mean, I love the high energy of the show, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. But the moment where she's getting ready, when she's just gotten fired, and Emmett reveals his love for her, right?
Yes, that's a beautiful.
To me, it's the beautiful moment, because of course, and it's one of those things. Musicals, it can be really easy to go over the top on a lot of things, right? And that moment there, it could be really easy to play the obstacle. Right, but you want it to be as authentic as possible, So and both Catherine and Hill have their own ways of doing that, but just trying to make sure that it's real. It's real. It's raw, but not too much over the top. But and that's a hard line to draw. But even still, I always enjoy that moment.
I think it's really cool too because it's just there's nothing else on the stage but them.
No,
and that's what is pretty. It's beautiful. So I love that.
Although some of these large. They did a really good job. Like I said, sometimes end of acts, you want to make sure that it's good and so that kind of carries you through intermission to the next. Actually, I thought they did a really good job of doing some of those really large scenes.
Yes.
Big opening number to kind of get people going, high energy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Popping out of the window is literally, I'm dancing back there, and it's time. So it's so fun.
What would you want to do that you haven't done in this show now that you've done it?
Now that I've done it, okay. I would love to be Elle one day. I think it'd be really fun for me. She's got some very vocally, it's a very difficult role.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that is so worth the challenge. And I think that, it takes some work to turn this blonde. My eyebrows are pretty dark, but I think that I have like, Elle would be a really fun character to play. Also, I wanted to be Brooke coming into this, actually.
Yeah.
I thought it would be really fun to just try to be, like, to be Brooke, but Sarah is doing, like, a wonderful job. I'm really glad that I am Pilar. So I think Elle would be my answer.
And Diane got her, make her to do that dance. Okay, no, you got to do the dance this way. Make those ropes go all this way. Do we really have to?
I know.
Well, business management. So, what is it that you like about business management?
So it's pretty broad because I still think that I want to specialize in something, but because I haven't taken all of my classes yet, I'm not sure what that is. Yeah. I think it'd be really fun to be a recruiter for a big university or any university, really, just to get the new students in there. Yeah. And clearly, you wouldn't be able to just do recruiting because not everyone's recruiting all the time. Right. But I really want to do something with people and just make a difference. So hopefully, I can find my little niche within the broad, spectrum.
What is it so fascinating about people?
I just think it's so fun to relate to people and just hear about everyone's different stories because everyone comes from different backgrounds and I've loved, meeting new friends this year and just seeing even people from different parts of the country, how their families are different and, what they've done in their life. So that's what I like about it.
What's the biggest surprise you find when you meet different people?
Just how sometimes people were raised so differently than I was. They're just, different life experiences. Like, I'm really blessed that, I have both my parents are together and that I have two sisters and we all get along really well. Right. I've definitely met people who do not have the same
dynamic,
family dynamic, never talk to their siblings, and it makes me so sad because I would not be who I am today without them. So that's something that's the most surprising for me, I think.
Hobbies. What hobbies do you have?
Well, I would consider theater a hobby of mine. Musical theater, yes. And I love to find different ways to exercise. I love Zumba and...
Zumba? How do you get into Zumba?
Zumba's fun. I like to do... we have some classes at school, and so I'll sometimes go take a class or two. But something that I'm into right now is called PYO. It's Pilates, yoga, and cardio. Okay. And it's this really cool program where it's like, instead of yoga where you're just sitting there, just doing your thing, you get to move through it, and it's actually like more interactive and fun. And so I actually got certified to teach it in March. So I'm going to be teaching at my school this year. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun just because I think exercise is something that, it makes me feel better. I breathe better. I definitely study better after I've exercised too. So that's something that I like to do, and I'm excited to see where that'll take me this year.
Have you heard of hot yoga, right?
I don't think I could handle it.
I was like, what is it with hot yoga?
People just, they say you sweat out everything, and I just don't think
I could do that walking outside.
I know. Come to Texas. You can do some hot yoga. Exactly.
So how did you get into exercise?
I think, my mom has always liked to, do it, just different things. And with dancing and stuff, my sisters do it, just on a daily basis. And so when I used to dance, that gave me that avenue. And definitely doing a show, that's pretty killer. Sure. So I think that I just like to do it just to keep myself in shape and just to make myself, feel more like, in tune and in touch. And so that's kind of how I got started. I did it after Legally Blonde my sophomore year. I started that jump rope scene is pretty killer. And so I wanted to, I got really in shape then. So I wanted to keep doing that, and definitely, if you keep doing it when you're young, you have a lot less health problems when you're older. And so that's something that I want to keep doing,
Well, I can't imagine you ever not being in shape. So.
Just you gotta keep yourself in check. So, because I like desserts, and so.
What's your favorite dessert?
Oh my gosh, too many. I'm a huge dark chocolate person.
Of course,
so anything dark chocolate. But I also am I like to try anything really with fruit in it and pecan. There's this great. Have you been to Green, Texas before?
Green, Texas? No.
Yes, you should go. It's a really fun place.
What's in Green, Texas?
They had the oldest dance hall in Texas. Actually, it was like 1870 something. It's the oldest dance hall in Texas. And then they have this restaurant right next door called the Gristmill, and they have the best pecan pie I've ever had in my life. It's got dark chocolate in it, and it's really sweet. And so I love sweets, so that's one of my favorites too.
So you make this too?
Oh, I wish they would give me the recipe, and I would, but no. I like to dabble and just try different things.
There is a place about, I don't know, maybe 45 minutes outside of Dallas to the southeast. It's a couple that, I think the guy was from New York, she's from Texas, and they always wanted to own their own restaurant, but in the farm, so they kind of blended the two. So I think they have their own herb farm, and they sell that to all the different restaurants. But on weekends, it's a 24-seat restaurant, multiple course, and between courses you go around the herb farm. So you get to see all the different. It's really cool.
That's so cool.
And you're eating this stuff, okay? So here's the arugula. See, I'll just take some arugula for the salad or whatever that we're gonna make, and it's all there. It's really cool.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I think that I have lots of dreams of stuff that I'd like to do in my life.
Yeah.
Just, different ideas. And my little sister Parker loves Princess and the Frog. So when she was little bitty when that came out, and she said, I want to own my own restaurant. So I think that one day we might have a Manning restaurant, and I can help with it, and Parker, and Paige will all be there. So that would be really fun to do.
Oh my goodness. What's your most favorite memory from childhood?
I think one of my most favorite memories is my sisters and I and my mom and dad, we'd always go on bike rides, bike rides around our neighborhood. And there's this little lake that's by our house. Yep. And so we'd go there and we'd sit out on a picnic blanket and bring lunch. And my mom would read Nancy Drew to us.
Nancy Drew!
Yeah, it was great. And it was so fun. And sometimes we'd dress up and go play in our fort outside, and we just like to read out there, and so that's one of my favorite memories. And also going camping with my dad when I was little is some of my favorites too. They had a Adventure Princess program at the YMCA, and
which was kind of father-daughter. I know they have thing that they do. Yes,
exactly. And so we'd always go with my dad, and that was really cool to just be outside. And it was with a lot of girls who went to school with me, and so doing that, and I think that's something that's so special. And I wish that every daughter and even son got to do that with their parents. It was really fun. And that's definitely, when we'd get around the campfire, we'd have chants. And since Paige Parker and I are so into theatrics, we would always change the words to songs and to make it about our tribe. And so that was really fun.
Camping?
Yes.
This is pretty cool. You get to do that anymore, or?
We don't go as often as the program for me stopped when I was 10.
Yeah, right.
So we don't go as often as we used to, but I just took geology this year, so I have all of this knowledge in my head. So I want to go to the Grand Canyon and national parks just to see that sort of thing. So I hope that we'll get to do that in the future.
There's a beautiful country, out that way. Again, too many places to go and not enough time.
I know. Got a list.
No. Is there any place overseas you'd like to go? You haven't been yet.
Yes. So since I'm doing a Spanish minor, I just want to go somewhere where I can just kind of immerse myself in the language and really just, build that up and just see that culture. So I was actually going to go to Valencia this summer. That's where I would have been studying for 6 weeks. Mm-hmm.
Well, I know there's a 9-month program or something like that. I know because my sister did that, I think, her sophomore year when she majored in Spanish.
Oh,
and you
really?
Can go to Spain. Yeah, you can spend your sophomore year in Spain or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So I would just like to go really anywhere. I would even go to South America. I'm a huge Evita fan. I love the musical Evita, so I'd love to go to Buenos Aires and, just feel like I am her for the day. And so anywhere there, so hopefully I'll be able to do that in the time that I'm in college. Tulsa's got a great program for study abroad, so I think that I'll eventually be able to go.
So why Spanish?
Why Spanish? I didn't even think about it. I'd been taking it since probably about 6th grade in middle school, and I never thought that I was very good at it. I was always so nervous to make a mistake, and especially even in high school, I had great, wonderful teachers, but it wasn't very conversational, so we didn't really talk back and forth a lot. Even if she's like, okay, talk with your partner, I would just be like, okay, I don't know. So Tulsa's so small that I was in an 8 a.m. Spanish class with 8 people.
Right.
So if I didn't know what was going on, it was pretty obvious, So I really tried to work hard and practice because we had oral exams, where you had to talk for 50 minutes. And, doing that was kind of empowering to me, just learning how to talk to different people. Yeah. And it's a beautiful language. So after I finished my first semester, my teacher said, you should consider, to the whole class, going on in Spanish and getting a minor. Right. And she said that, and I don't know if she expected it to have such a big influence on us, but half of my class were going on, to do it. Excellent. And especially if I end up in Texas, I think it'd be a great
anywhere in the U.S. I'm shocked that how widespread Spanish is everywhere in the United States.
Definitely.
You can go in the Northeast, and oh my goodness, yes, you need to know Spanish. Yeah,
I know, and I think it's kind of crazy that every other country has learned English pretty perfectly, and for some reason
we can barely learn our own.
We can barely learn. Yeah, exactly.
Much less
some of us don't speak very
language,
well. So I just kind of want to have that extra, added thing to me. That I worked hard to do that. So I'm clearly not perfect at it. I need a lot of work, but it's something that I aspire to do. So hopefully I will achieve that goal.
So I don't think you guys have many dark times. What has the darkest time been in your life?
The darkest time in my life. It's deep questions. I don't know. I think we're very blessed to say that we've had a very happy childhood and a happy time.
Which is great. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I can't really think of a dark time. If it was a dark time, it'd probably just be with like if my friendships were faltering at school, and luckily, that where it hurt me, I still had my family to fall back on, so it wasn't anything that was
which was great, yes,
too detrimental.
absolutely. Right.
That's why sometimes when there's roles that are more serious, I have a more difficult time trying to relate to those characters, just because there haven't been very many dark
which would
times.
be most dramas, right?
Yes, exactly. That's why I'm usually the comedic character, because that's kind of what I relate to more often.
Which is a good thing, because even dramas have some element of comedy, because that's true to life.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, but I guess that dark time, no, because I've seen that a lot. A lot of actors always say that we want to do heavy drama, and that's great. It just doesn't sell very well in this area.
But, heavy drama.
Yeah.
Yes.
But there's all the aspect of being able to explore that side.
I really
even if you're not really into, it's not really happening in your life, but still to be explored. It's just like character exploration.
I really want to. Like some of the dream roles I have, like Belle, that's a very dark time that she goes through with the Beast and losing her dad. And, I am more of the comedic side, but I definitely would love to explore just going into those more serious roles, and something I really want to do. So hopefully I'll be able to do that too.
Yeah, because I don't say what. Well, I mean, if we did Sweeney Todd, not that we would be doing
I know, but that's pretty dark.
Dark.
I know. Actually, my
even Lemieux has some pretty dark.
I know
musical.
It is. It's beautiful though. So
it's beautiful, but it's got plenty of dark moments.
Yes, yeah. So that's something that I'd like to explore too. Actually, my senior year, one of my good friends was wanting to do my friends from Sweeney Todd for a voice recital, and so he asked me to be Mrs. Levitt.
Right.
And so that was.
Goodness.
I know. So I'm like, what are you doing, Andrew? He did it. We pulled it off, but that was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's a pretty dark role.
I know. Sarah always said, she's the first person I usually text when I find out, what's coming up, and she's like, let's hope it's not Addams Family, Peyton, because I can't help but smile when I'm on stage, and so...
Michael was that way for the longest time he was on stage. No matter what he was doing, he was always smiling. He was like, don't do that. That's not appropriate at this time.
It's pretty hard, even when I would do choir music, if it was a sad song, there's so many people who, when they sing choir music, are just so dead.
Expressionless, yes.
It's boring, and so I want it to be worth it. If people come to see me, I want them to see that I'm having fun and doing that sort of thing. So even if it's a serious song, I'll try to have soft smile. But yeah, she said, Peyton, let's just hope it's not Addams Family, because you're not gonna be able to make it.
I always when we go to Disney, there was a time when we went there so much that we had to always find something different to do. And so we take the backstage tours and that kind of stuff. And I found it fascinating that the haunted house, which we love just for fun.
They used to scare me so badly when I was little.
Oh, really? Yes! I guess because I was older, it's really just fun. It's not that big. I'm sure it would scare the crap out of me when I was younger.
Yes.
But they're the ones that don't have to smile. Everywhere in Disney, they have to, be cheery because you're part of the cast, right?
Yes.
They don't have to there.
It's crazy. That's probably the one place,
Yeah, they can do whatever they want.
And maybe Tower of Terror, too. That might be the only
one. Maybe the Tower of Terror, yeah. They don't have to do that. But yeah, they don't have to.
I think it'd be really fun. I would love to do the Disney College program just for a little bit. Yeah. I think, if you do that, they have such a high expectation of what their cast members should be. And I think that I could even do it for 6 months, I think it would help me, in other jobs too, just because there's an expectation there. And that at some companies, it might not be that high, and you could just bring that extra thing to it, I'm 5'1.5", so I don't know if I'd be able to, maybe I'd be a fairy, but Belle would be, the dream, obviously. So,
well, even that just changed over time too. Yeah, I remember there was a rule that if there was a certain character out, it could only be that one character, maybe in the park or whatever. But
Yes.
they realize, you know what? Most of the people here take pictures of these. Oh, what the hell? So, so now they're everywhere. So it used to be really difficult to find characters. We used to joke that the best time to get pictures or talk with the characters is when it rains. Because everyone runs away. Everyone's running away. You know what? There's no lines. Well, let's go. And that's how we would do it. But now, I mean, their characters everywhere. Because they realize that's why people are there. Right.
Exactly. So that'd be really fun to do. We love Disney at my house. I think it's so funny. Sometimes people ask me about, what's your favorite Marvel film or superhero? Right. And I was just like, I really don't know how to answer that question, because even though my dad, I think, liked that sort of stuff, he got overruled by the Disney, so I've started to recently, I just watched like Avengers for the first time, and and Iron Man. So I'm starting to get more into that, but yeah, Disney will always be number one.
Well, it's not about characterization. A lot of recent films, it seems like, we got to have the strong woman character. Yes. But that usually means she's kicking ass all the time.
Yeah, that's true.
But does that always have to be? I mean, you have to be a strong woman character just because you can kick ass? Is that what it is?
I mean, not really. Like, you have Elsa, who's the strong woman character, and she didn't have to have anyone by her side. She did it, but she needed her sister there. Her sister helped her in the end.
And that's a beautiful story too, and it's Frozen 2 coming. Yes.
Yeah, so excited. That's gonna be great. But yeah, you have strong female characters. I think Katniss Everdeen. She's kicking booty. She's
but she can be vulnerable at the same time too.
So I don't think it needs to just be all one way. That people are. There's all different mixes of personalities, and you don't always have to be at, 100% at one way, right. So it's interesting, for sure.
What movie have you missed since we've been doing Legally Blonde? Because I know we've missed some movies, we were just talking about Finding Dory. I haven't even had a chance to see it.
We haven't seen Finding Dory. I'm trying to think of what else is out. It's definitely been hard. I saw Me Before You. That's the only one I think I've seen this summer. But... yeah, there's lots of different things coming out. I'm so excited about some of the live-action Disney movies that are coming out. Beauty and the Beast, obviously, is coming out. And I didn't see The Jungle Book when that came out either. So that was a long time ago. Right. But what have you missed since Legally Blonde?
Gads, it's years. Normally we joke, even like TV series. We don't get around to them till about maybe 5 or 10 years later. For instance, like Toy Story. People would tell me, "Oh man, you got to see Toy Story." Yeah, and I was like, "Yeah." So 10 years later,
and that's when you first saw Toy Story.
Hey, this is pretty cool. And people probably look at you like, "Huh?
What is going on?" I know. There's been this summer has been so funny. So I actually got out in May. So I've had a pretty long summer. Yeah. College summers are the best. Yeah. They're really nice. Yeah. So when my sisters were still in school for about 3 weeks, and before they were able to get out, so my mom and I would just stay up super late watching TV shows, and I watched Frasier for the first time. Right. And so you're binge watching and catching it up. Yes. And so it's so funny because I want to, tell my friends how hilarious I think the show is. Like, we have always been more theater than, doing screen stuff. But I think if I had to do anything, being on a sitcom would be hilarious. Like, I love Daphne in the show, and so I'll tell my friends, I love Frasier.
Do they get the reference?
No, they don't understand. But, some people, I say, ask your parents about Cheers, and then they'll understand, about this. So that's pretty funny.
Michael and I, we were catching up because we hadn't seen Person of Interest. So we just started this summer, about a month ago, and caught up all the way up to the fifth season. I was like, okay, this is good. Oh, it's over. Darn. Because it got canceled. But anyway. Exactly. So it was our way. That's usually what we do with the series. Just kind of catch up real quickly. Okay, fine. And then move on.
I know. We always say that we got to do it before. I didn't have a TV in my room freshman year, which is good because I probably wouldn't have used it anyways, doing other stuff. But yeah, Paige and Parker have been watching different series, and they just say, I have to finish this before school starts because I'm not going to do any work. So
no, absolutely. Yeah, and in fact, it was the same thing we'd tell Michael, is that, you know what, you don't need a TV here. Life is out there, not in here. So, get out there, go do something, meet people, kind of stuff like that. Who's the most interesting person you've met at college so far?
Most interesting person I've met in college? Oh my
gosh, if any.
I can't name drop. I can't tell you.
What are they going to say? What are they going to say?
If they watch this interview. Oh, man. I don't know. Interesting is an interesting word. I've just met a lot of like wonderful just friends. I'm in a sorority there, and
oh really? Which one is this?
I'm a Kappa Alpha Theta. So proud I'm a Theta. But I've just met a lot of people who are so similar to me, and those girls just drive me to be the best that I can be. And so just meeting people who like are so uplifting, that's been just a blessing.
Well, it doesn't seem to be a problem with you, but it seems to be. It's a general problem. It's not just girls, but it's also with guys too. Positive self-image. So how do you get people to have a positive self-image?
That's a difficult question. Just seeing, like, I've always been someone who has seen just the brighter side of things.
Sure.
And even if they're having a bad day, I'll try to like just turn it around. There's got to be something good that's come out of it, you know? And so just, to love yourself the way that you are. And, that's so difficult for some people, but I always try to, point out the beautiful qualities in them because there is beauty in everything. So. Well,
it's great that you have the built-in, the social network, the sorority, but I know especially the freshman year is so difficult. It's just a transition, even if you had a supportive family, which you did, essentially you're alone. At least for a while. I mean, you've got these connections, but you're alone, and you guys, what we call becoming, right? You're not fully formed. Not that we're ever fully formed, but you've got all these, and all these different experiences, and so you had a good base. But you must have run into other people that didn't necessarily have that base or had trouble.
That's true. It is true. So that was hard. We all just tried to. It was kind of interesting because I was a little nervous coming to college actually because. When you're at home, you can kind of just rest. You know, you don't have to, and it's not like there's
a safety net there, whether you admit it or not.
Yes, exactly. So I was kind of like not knowing what to expect when I was just going to be around people all the time. But those people really do become your family, and you can relate to those experiences. If someone's having a bad day or if they've just blew a test, like we all get it. We all get it, and just try to help each other. And so that was the thing. If I ever saw anyone who was upset that day, I would try to just make their day a little bit better. So
So for your bucket list, what is on the bucket list?
What's on the bucket list? Wow, for shows, for
life, anything.
Well, I think I would love to travel. Just to travel to different places with my family would be really cool. I would love to go to Rome one day.
Oh, it's a cool place.
Yeah,
go get gelato there. Not just anywhere. Oh, that's my recommendation, but get it. There's a place right outside the Vatican, and the guy sold me a 7-scoop gelato of mostly fruit, and I hate fruit.
You hate fruit?
And I loved it. Oh my gosh. It was that good.
Well,
he'd go like, you should, to try. No, it's okay. 1 scoop's fine. And he just kept adding scoop. Next thing you know, I've got 7 scoops. Oh, it was awesome.
Oh my gosh. That sounds like heaven. I love fruit.
Awesome. I think if we did Rome again, I would just rent an apartment, probably just outside the Vatican, and then just roam about that because it's like any large city. Just so much going on.
Definitely.
And they're so, and every country is of course different. I love Europe, but they're so friendly there. If you know any Italian, and of course Spanish will help because it's kind of close, not exactly, but they just love you. They just fall in love with you.
That's so awesome. We just love to see it because we're Catholic, and so just to be able to see, just some things from our faith, and where, so many of the people are. I think it'd be beautiful to just go there. And
we have a great Pope now. Not that it's
Pope
been different,
is awesome,
but because he's so fatherly, so loving, so forgiving, and we just love that. I think it's great for Catholics. So I was going to say that yes, we can be accepting if we don't necessarily agree with everything that other people either think about us or whatever. But we can still be one big family.
He's so inspiring. He definitely is the people's Pope. Because
absolutely, yes.
The past have been wonderful, but some of them have been more heavy towards theologian.
This is dogma. We got to follow this. This is the rules. That's it. Yeah, that's right.
But the fact that he tweets, even I think that's pretty amazing that he's trying to connect with a broader audience.
He doesn't need the pomp and circumstance. Drives around some little car. Who cares?
Pope-mobile. Yeah.
Yes, Pope-mobile. I don't care. That's fine. Pays his own bills. This kind of stuff. The kind of stuff you're like, wow, he gets it.
He does get it. It's really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Need to go there. Oh, I know I did. It's not my story, though. midnight mass. You know, there's usually 250,000 plus people right there. So some friends of ours from A&M were there, and they run into other friends of theirs that happened to be in Paris. We all went to A&M together, but they were not based in Paris. They just happened to run into each other at midnight mass.
Oh my god! Seriously,
I mean, like, how do you do? You have 250,000 people just happen to run into each other.
That is so cool. That was probably not a coincidence, you know.
Probably not, but we just thought it was great. So there was all the kind of thing. I just love the ruins of the history, because we don't really have our history here. 100 years is old, and there that's nothing,
Exactly.
It's 1,000, 2,000 years or plus. And when you look at it, it's like, wow, these walls could talk.
I know. And just the architecture is beautiful. And there's so many things that I want to see there.
They have a different philosophy of life, too. I think we're so driven that, this is all the time we have. And, it's, there they take, it's much more relaxed, approach to life, to dinner, to whatever.
Families,
to family.
I just think that, just to travel anywhere outside the U.S., I think would be interesting. I think my junior year, my history teacher gave us this package, just saying like 10 things that make Americans.
Right.
Number one was time, and it's kind of interesting. Different cultures, they take siestas, and I'm like, I wonder that does not fly here, and I just wonder what that would feel like to just be there. And
I can tell you right now, it would feel
it
wonderful.
Feels so nice.
I like my nap now.
Siestas. I know. Definitely first year of college, I took a lot of naps, and that was really nice.
And did you ever take naps when you were a kid? Probably not, right?
No, I always thought it was interesting, especially when I got more into upper level high school. I said, we're the ones who need the naps. The little kids don't need them. There's too much energy. So I think it's just fun to just go experience different lifestyles and just to see, what you like about those things.
I'll have to tell you the story. When we were in Florence, I don't even know if it's there anymore. There was a monastery of 6 monks. It was a cloistered monk, so they were only the top 1 hour, maybe a week, probably after Mass. Average age was 75.
Wow.
2 of them were from Africa, and they didn't speak Italian. But again, it doesn't matter. You're cloistered. What are you
gonna do?
But there was a restaurant across the street that had been serving this order for hundreds of years. They bring them their meals, but they don't even get to see who they're serving, and they never get to see who's giving it because they go through this window. Mm-hmm. They slide the window. They put the food in. They slide it closed. On the other side, they open it and they take it. Very simple room. There's like one light in the entire room.
Oh my gosh.
There's no electricity. There's a little garden out the back. So they're showing us around this place and all the wonderful art and things that they do. And so the guide's going around talking about this before we have our dinner, and all we hear this. So you listen to the tour some more. It was one of the monks. We were in his, around, and he was trying to let us know that he was there. Don't approach me. Don't talk to me.
Yes, I know. It always amazes me when I hear about something I also like to do. My hobby wise is just to learn more about different faiths and my faith, and read about the lives of the saints because they've made it. So I think that we can learn a lot from them, and I learned about Saint Therese of Lisieux and just learning about these people who knew that they wanted to be cloistered and just go do that. It's just amazing to me. I don't understand,
It's very, very different. Yeah,
it's very different. Yes,
it's a very different life. I don't think I could do that. Yeah,
it'd be hard for sure.
But I mean, they would work on this one guy had worked on a wood carving for 20 some odd years. That's what he did. Okay, one guy worked on liqueurs, limoncellos and stuff like that, and he wouldn't write down the recipe. Kind of thing. So I don't know if he has it yet or not. That's been almost 7 or 8 years ago. So everyone had their own little thing. And then we went to the restaurant, which was of course a lot of fun.
Oh yes.
And of course the waiters sang for us. And
it's the best. Yes. We'll sing at our restaurant that me, Paige, and Park are gonna have. You can expect that when you come.
One. Yeah. But yeah, that's a great time. You definitely got to do that. Do you? You've seen the different movies of all different kinds. When you travel, like I said, to go to New York and stuff like that, or for Disney, do you ever try to see any of the places that are in those movies?
Yes. Okay. I think that at the times that I have gone before, there wasn't really anything that I wanted to see that was in a movie. But now there's definitely things that I'd like to see, I think I like to watch Friends, so it's going to the coffee shop that is in Friends, and different things like that.
Oh, that's cool. I think it's cool.
Yeah, and if I ever went to Barcelona,
Yeah.
so funny, but the Cheetah Girls were in Barcelona, and they danced across the street and stuff, and so just seeing those things. And then if I went to
for Italy,
Buenos Aires,
or Buenos Aires, under Tuscan sun, so that'd be Positano. Roman holiday, of course, you got to see, Rome. I want to do a tour where we'd hit all the places that are in Roman holiday.
That would be so fun. Yes, you definitely have to plan those things pretty to
Oh
the
yes,
T.
Absolutely. Argentina, yeah, that'd be interesting. What kind of things we'd see in Argentina? It's funny. I haven't been. I was gonna say I haven't been south of the equator. That's not true. No, I have been Australia, but I haven't been. But for some reason in South America, I haven't made it to the south, like in Brazil or anything like that.
I think it'd be so fun to just see, and I know that I really want to see the Carnival one day in Rio. I think that'd be really cool too. I have all these weird, they're not really cohesive dreams, but there's just a lot of things I want to see.
Well, there's definitely some things on that bucket list to get
Definitely. Definitely.
Well, we're getting ready for another big show. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you what we've been asking everyone else. If heaven exists, what do you want God to say when you get to the pearly gates?
I think that I want him, I would love for him to say, you did your job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you did what I wanted you to do. And you lived a life that, I'm proud of you for. And you touched the lives of other people. And I'd also want to ask him some questions, too.
What is it with this today? Every person that has come has a list of questions for God. What was it? Yeah, Carlos just came and said, do you have a cappuccino machine? Is there an espresso here? Do I have to have a membership here? And he's probably going to say, stop. We don't have enough of the questions.
I think that everything, my mom said one time that, anything that gives you joy on earth, that is a good thing. Yeah. There's probably that and more in heaven. So I'm sure Carlos said there is a cappuccino machine. But I think I'd want to ask him. Sometimes I have trouble, figuring out exactly what his plan is and, his time. And I just would like him, like to ask him, what is my purpose? What am I doing here? And I think that I'll eventually figure that out on his time. It's sometimes hard to wait, but, we'll figure it out.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.